Well, that was yesterday. Now, our colleague Fred Duho, who was out there on the road, on the Tema Accra motorway, heard from the people, and he's here with us in studio to give us a sense of people's feelings on the ground. Fred, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you doing?
Good. Yourself?
Fantastic. It's good to have you here. We are well. We are well.
Thank you for having me.
We know.
We are fine, Fred. We are we are fine.
Obviously, you should be fine. What I saw on your table when I came in, if you are not fine,
Also, in that regard, we are fine.
Oh, yeah.
But with a toll
Yeah,
book
other
kind of
regard.
stuff, we are not
You're
too
not
sure.
too
We are
good.
trying to be fine. So yesterday, when you hit the road, what is the real issue? On the ground, how do Ghanaians feel about this whole tolls coming back? The Accra Tema motorway. What did they make of it?
I spoke to not less than 8 drivers or motorists yesterday, and the sentiment seems to be the same. One, you should reintroduce the paying of toll because they are willing and ever ready to pay it, because in effect, ever since it was suspended, nothing really has come out of it for them, as in they've not really seen its benefit. And I asked one gentleman if he meant the traffic situation didn't really reduce. He said, but if there was no traffic on the road, I wouldn't even stop him to be talking to him.
Yeah.
So obviously there is traffic on the road.
But-
Just
but-
that it
but-
wasn't as intense as it used to be.
When they
But-
were paying, did they see anything?
Well,
No, they're
so
saying that since they stopped, they've not really seen anything. When they were paying, did they see anything?
that is, for them, they feel the toll must be paid by every road user.
For what?
For development purposes. I
Did
mean,
they
for
see the development? That's what
rehabilitation of
I'm
the road.
asking,
So
because
I posed the question to them. Basically, they want to reintroduce it because they want to expand the motorway, reconstruct it into some 4 lanes and in some cases 6 lanes. What do they make of that? And they said that is a brilliant idea, but they feel they should be paying even as of now, so that when they begin the project and they finish the entire reconstruction, they would still make the towing on the motorway and any other road mandatory, because they feel that is the only way the ordinary Ghanaian who drives on our roads and wants some good roads to drive on can really contribute their quota in ensuring that we drive on some good roads. So they express some, optimism that when the road toll is brought back, it is obviously going to accumulate some revenue for the state, one, and then 2, the reconstruction that is being contemplated by the state is something good that they feel must be done as fast as possible.
One of my challenges with the whole thinking of government is that we need to appreciate, and for the citizenry of Ghana, just generally appreciate that this highway we are talking about is actually part of a much, much bigger conversation. It's part of the Trans-African Highway. In the West Africa part of the Trans-African Highway is running from Lagos right through to Dakar.
Yeah.
Do you see? This is just a small part of it.
Part of it, yeah.
A tiny part of it. I don't know, we're talking about what, 500 and 600 kilometers worth of it. Do you see? And the Accra motorway
It's
is
like
some
some
20 kilometers or something.
27
Out of
You
that.
see, out of that, right? If we understand it, that this is for a lot of international travelers use this road.
Almost every day.
And
every
the pressure on the road from trucks, look, people are trucking from Lome
Yeah.
to Burkina through Tema motorway. And then, of course, the N6, the one that goes all the way to the north. So we can't play these type of funny games. It's like we're going to toll it to recover the cost of building, the expanding the road and all of that. No, we have to look at the thing properly. Toll the thing properly. And I even think that this business of sedan cars, salon cars, paying 1 Ghana CD, 50 pesos and things, it's a joke. You are not doing
that one. They were actually
practically.
divided on paying the toll, as in whether it should be increased or not. Some said due to economic challenges now, it should be maintained at the previous rate, and others are saying that no, they feel it should be increased.
I don't think it's realistic.
50
You know,
pesos, it should be increased to 1 cedi.
Now we can take a look at the conversation that you had with some motorists. So let's take a look at this.
For the Accra-Tema motorway, it will be told the moment they are done with the reconstruction. And the reconstruction, according to the Roads and Highways Minister, is going to be expanded further to some 4 lanes, and at certain points it's going to be 6 lanes. When the construction is done, you are going to pay toll when you make use of the motorway.
For introduce it again, it's not a bad thing because you have to pay. We have to pay for toll.
I will need to pay more for that.
No, well, for now, how the system is now, we have to use the old one.
We don't understand the reason why the government stopped the correction of the toll. So the government have to bring it on.
I don't think it benefited me in any way. I think the government is rather losing. As an individual, it was nothing to pay the toll, actually. Yeah, so I think government actually lost in taking out the toll. Yeah.
So
Wow.
there you have it. And the computers you saw in the actually in the empty toll booths there that are there. I don't even understand it. So wait, so listen. They say stop tolling, suspension of tolls. They've left the equipment there to rot.
Everything.
So we suspended everything.
Everything.
So
And
abandoned
they were-
everything
no,
at post.
It's illogical.
Right,
It's
and now we have to find ways
Money
and
to
means
go and
By, I mean, those machines, you can't, I mean, repair them. I mean, they are totally covered in dust.
You know, Fred, so
Everything.
the Ministry of Roads and Highways has issued a statement, you know, to further clarify what the Finance Minister meant by we will be paying tolls. You know, earlier people were kind of confused, i.e., so road tolls are coming back, they
Yeah.
are going to be paying. And
Yeah.
then there was a clarification that it's going to be only on the Accra-Tema motorway when it's completed. And now the ministry has further issued a statement for further clarification. Let me take that press release. So, clarification of the Finance Minister's statement on the collection of road tolls in the mid-year budget statement. Following the presentation of the mid-year budget statement of the Government of Ghana for the 2022 financial year by the Honorable Minister of Finance, Ken Ofori-Atta, on Monday, 25th July 2022, the Ministry of Roads and Highways has noted with concern reports in some sections of the media and various discussions of the reintroduction of toll collection in the country. The ministry wishes to state for the avoidance of doubt that the finance minister, while speaking about the financing arrangement of the Accra-Tema motorway extension project, stated that when completed, and that's quoting him, the CA, which is the concessional agreement, is expected to be approved by the PPP Committee, Cabinet and Parliament. The completed road will be tolled to recover the whole complete assets and provide a return for equity investors. Quote ends. He further stated that all PPP projects must be self-financing and will be tolled. The ministry wishes to state categorically that the government has not reinstated toll collection across the country. He further wished to clarify that the finance minister's reference to tolls in the budget review was in respect of PPP road projects only. The ministry wishes to reassure the public that the government will continue to use innovative means to finance road projects across the country. Nasiri Ahmed Iyate is head of public relations at the ministry, and he signed this. Now, this is where my difficulty comes in. So, road projects, right, that the cost is being shared between a private entity and government will be tolled.
Exactly the case.
Government solely funded projects where it is also mostly, or I mean, entirely,
Almost all the time,
all
from
the time,
loans, yeah.
from loans, from help from somewhere, we are not going to toll it. I'm trying to understand the logic behind this, you know, because government's contribution to the PPP is borrowed money. Government solely financing it is borrowed money. So what exactly is government trying to explain to us here? I still don't understand.
It's
that those ones we don't need to toll it. Which one is even more important?
It's called gimmickry.
No, I
so
don't
the
know.
point five, the point 5 says the ministry wishes to reassure the public that the government will continue to use innovative means to finance road projects across the country.
What is the innovative
Which basically
means?
says that road tolling is something that they definitely are not interested in. They told you that we are limiting the road toll
To the
to
PPP
these
roads.
projects, and we'll find innovative ways of financing. So all the other roads that we need to toll, forget about that. We'll figure out how to finance them.
So here is my concern. I mean, like Frema rightly said, going for a PPP agreement obviously is loan, because if you bring in, let's say, Kweku's company to come and partner with government to build a road, which is, let's say, for the motorway,
Yeah.
and at the end of the day, you ask Kweku to toll it for 25 good years or 35 good years. Obviously, that's even the lifespan of that road. So the moment you are done tolling that particular road and taking your money out of it, the road begins to deteriorate. Then we now go back, then the cycle
find
continues.
innovative ways
So
maintain
that
it.
is that is where I have a problem. So if we are able to toll all roads as it was and even add new ones, I mean, the money that we get as in revenue, in as much as it's not enough to even fix the roads or even do new projects, it is quite better considering the e-levy that we are not trying to achieve
You
anything
see,
out
that-
of
that-
it,
my worry
and other
is- my-
streams of revenue
my
that are
worry
not
is
generating any revenue.
to sit down, let some of these debts accrue,
Yeah.
and then we have to now come in with some drastic measures, you know,
Yeah.
to find the money. And one of such is e-levy.
Yeah.
You know, e-levy we all understand, but we can't run away from the fact that it's really having a toll on all of us.
Don't forget that e-levy came because the toll was suspended at a
That
certain
is what
point,
I'm
and
saying.
people
You
were
get
trying
it.
to jubilate
So,
over it.
and I don't think people were complaining about paying the
Yeah.
toll.
Nobody
it was
ever
rather
complained about paying
the
tolls.
kind of
It was the traffic and all
you
of
know,
that, the
it's
inconvenience there.
excesses that people complain about. So I felt that we should find ways to deal with these kind of uncomfortable and inconveniencing developments, or, you know, as a way of
So yesterday,
paying the tolls
Yesterday, when
and not
Semens
cancel it.
was speaking, one of the things he said was electronic tolls, right? So if you look at everywhere, not in Ghana, but everywhere, and even in Ghana, if you look at the Legon stretch, right, Achimota Forest to Legon, there's electronic tolls there.
You've
right?
gone too far. The motorway has electronic toll.
Okay.
At a certain
Yes,
point,
but
but there are
one-
one or
but
two.
only
Yes,
one.
and those are for
Yeah.
Only one
automatic
on-
But do you
plates and
see
those kind of.
queues?
Yeah, but
do
you
see
see-
queues
No,
there?
but there's no
No,
queue there.
exactly.
So that should be the system we should implement.
you.
Yes, because what happens then is that if you've paid for, and we have 3 or 4 of such lanes,
Yeah.
do you get it? So now what it means that it's very quick, right? Then the places where it's manual, you have two lanes that are manual. Then that one, it will even be the drivers themselves who will see that, look, let me just go and pay for this thing,
Electronic
for
and then-
electronic
yeah.
and be free, because this traffic every day, I can't do it, right? It makes sense, right? Anyway, we have a traffic consultant, road consultant on the line with us, Engineer Mahama. Good morning, Engineer.
Good morning.
How are you doing?
David Estima.
You seem tickled by our conversation this morning. Thank you for joining us this morning. How are you doing?
I am good. I'm good. I'm good.
Great. From your perspective, the conversation that has been going on, starting from the minister in Parliament, talking about the PPP financed project, and then the recovery of tolls, and the idea of not tolling all roads but only PPP funded projects. Where do you stand? What's your perspective on this?
Well, let me say a very good morning to your viewers. Frema, David, you are looking awesome on set.
Thank you very much,
Thank
Engineer.
you.
And let me say that I want to applaud the two of you and your other colleague,
Fred.
and then Samens yesterday for becoming like 60% engineers already. I must be blunt with you. Absolute good point made by anybody with exception of government. The day that minister was in Parliament in November last year, when they read the budget through,
Yeah.
I was so amazed. We're all expecting that we're going to have an increment. Like you rightly said, it's a joke when we are taking 50 pesos for saloon cars in Ghana and then 1 cedi for SUVs and the light trucks and I think 2 to 5 cedis for the heavy-duty trucks.
Yeah.
The questions I asked the Deputy Minister of Finance on Joy was that, are you joking in this country? You are expecting all the heavy truck vehicles from Burkina Faso, Niger, Chad to use our road, which is about 1,000 kilometers free of charge? They are actually exerting so much load on our roads. The roads cannot bear their weight. Unfortunately for us, when we have our axle loads, they mastermind and pass through those areas without being arrested for overloading. What they do is that before they get to those locations, they offload some of their goods into Kia, some of the light trucks. When they go beyond those areas, they load back. They know that our axle loads are stationed at particular locations. They are not mobile. And so, if they outwit us, they exert so much load, and a design road, which a design lifespan of a road supposed to go about 20 years, within 10 years or less, or average about 12 years, the roads are so destroyed. And these people are driving on our roads, and they are not paying a dime. That's one. Number two, the reasons that the minister gave, in fact, which has been explained further by the Minister of Roads and Highways, is a big joke. You want to tell Ghanaians, like someone said yesterday, you want to tell Ghanaians that because of some congestion and some health concerns and whatever, our traffic at the toll, we have to remove or cancel the levy. I gave a question to the minister, the deputy minister, that how is it that ironically, Amasaman, Pokwase, Sapeman area is one of the most traffic roads apart from the other ones you can add Afenia Community 25 area. Yet, because the Sapeman toll was well designed with about 5 lanes, with about 700 meters to 1 kilometer approaches to the toll, where you exit from the toll lane, you have 5 luxury lanes to pay your toll and exit again, a kilometer away from you. It is so nice that you have never experienced 1 second of traffic on that.
True.
Meanwhile, you are feeding from a heavily trafficked area of Francois to Amasaman.
Yeah.
So if you have not done a proper design, don't speak to Ghanaians as if we are now learning engineering. It's basic common sense and engineering that will solve this problem. When you get to the wager, if you think that you're having a traffic on the wager stretch where the toll is, you just have to stagger the toll. You move one of the toll in one direction about 2 kilometers away from the other, so that all the lanes there will be accommodated by one toll. It is basic engineering. So I am of the view that I am anticipating that because of the introduction, let me be very specific with this one, the introduction of the e-levy, let's get the Ghanaians to support us by bringing down the toll and then later introducing the e-levy. I have said, and I know you have been checking, Trevor has been checking my Twitter mostly sometimes. You go and check what I stated on the 8th of February, that we will shamefully bring the toll back, because that's one of the most legal ways of getting money for expansion. And like you asked, someone asked this morning or yesterday, how do you want to do a PPP on the motorway and then allow the private person to at his discretion to charge a fee because he wants a limited time to recoup his money? Let's say, I did a calculation to Joy yesterday when we had the program with the Deputy Minister for Roads and Highways. And I said, with my basic calculation, being about 17 years per what I did, my assumptions yesterday, to recoup the money on the motorway, are we telling that those who are staying at the Com25 on the motor, unfortunately, because they have to use that road, in two designs, one is an express road where you'll be paying higher, and the other one is semi-express where you'll be paying low, because that will have attract a certain traffic. So if an average person doesn't have, let's say, 10 cents to pay for the motorway, he has to use the second express road, which is just beside that one. That will be a bit trafficked. So Minis Cantina should go on the second lane and pay, let's say, 4 cedis and endure from traffic. If I have money, I move on the first lane, which is the express, and pay 10 cedis. That's discriminatory. Unfortunately, for someone who's in Ashama, motorway from 25 Athena coming to Accra every day, the person will not be paid. The person has to compel to pay this toll. Then somebody stays at East Legon. His office is at airport, or 37 of the ministries. That person will drive on this road with all the best cars, the good condition road, and will not pay a dime. I have stated, this government or any other government that will come for that matter would have to bring the toll fully and even add more. We have only 38 functioning toll in Ghana before the cancellation, and it's woefully inadequate. Cote d'Ivoire, Burkina Faso, Nigeria, with our neighbors, are charging an average of 5 cedis per toll, and you are doing 50 pesos. That's 10%, 90% less what your neighboring countries are doing. No wonder they are expanding their good roads in their country. We cannot maintain our roads, and yet we have cancelled the legitimate way of getting money to maintain our roads. Do you get it?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so now, last week Wednesday, they have commenced the Ofankor to Nsawam Road last week Wednesday, and that was part of the $750 million loan approved in Parliament. Like Sema was saying, that is a Ghanaian money, whether it's a loan or a grant, it's a money that we are going to pay. Government, in its own wisdom, had decided as part of the desire to expand the supplement toll booth in case they find it necessary to come back and toll the road. Should everything be okay, like the deputy was saying yesterday, that all things being equal, if those bottlenecks are removed, how would they be removed? It's engineering. Because the people who are selling the yogurt, the bread, and other things, if you allow them, they will sit in front of the toll and inconvenience motorists. So get them off, expand your roads, get your toll. Government's about to do the ACP to Brekusu to Ebri Road. That will be another short road. Because if I'm supposed to stay from Dome and I'm going to Ebri, I have to go through Hachu, get to Atomic Junction, go through Medina Zongo Junction, get to Race Junction, get to Adenta Junction, get to Pantai, and now move on the other first to Ayimensa to go to Ebri. If I can connect from the Brekusu, which is about 15 minutes or less, and I'm going to even pay 5 cedis, every common sense person will be willing to pay that 5 cedis. But that road, as I've seen now, is not going to be tolled because there's no even provision for a design for expansion for the road, the toll. Why do you want to chop and change? See, it's about time leadership accept that we made a big mistake by cancelling the toll. Averagely, over 80% of those that have been interviewed have all condemned even though they have the road users, they have condemned the cancellation.
Yeah.
The people that you're trying to please are saying no. Legitimately, it makes sense to have the toll. Bring it back. You say, I won't do it. So you want to now go and put more pressure on the motorway. And then if David is staying at Tema and is coming to Accra, he wants to go to Accra early, he will be paying 10 cedis or more at the expense of the rest of the country. It doesn't make sense. And I'm saying that if government doesn't have has a challenge, I am putting through your medium. If you get some of us, there's about 5 engineers, 5, and let us give him solution to the problem that he has. This is not rocket science. It is basic transport analysis, and this can be done within a matter of a month. If government has money for all the solutions or the suggestions we are going to bring technically, we can just eliminate this bottleneck on the toll area. You don't even need, like I say, you want to talk about the digitization or the electronic system. See, when you see the motorway now with all the electronic system, motorway has over 93,000 vehicles per day. 93,000. Do you see any congestion at the toll area? You go to Ayimensa, you go to Dodua, and you go and put a little kiosk there for a toll. You have not made any provision for an expansion in that area. So the traffic there is understandable because you have not designed the place. So once you start taking the money at those areas, what is this part of those money to expand the area so that you can deal with the traffic situation? Let me say this. Government the suggestion or decision to cancel the toll is neither here nor there. That's my submission.
Right, I think that you've said it all. Thank you very much, Engineer Mahama.
Welcome.
Right, so for me, I think, every question has been answered because I wanted to know, so how do we turn things around? He said it. And I really agree with him because I think that most of our challenges in this country, are artificial. We create them. So, for instance, I'm very familiar with the Wager toll booth. Okay, the challenge is the number of hawkers on that stretch. Like some 500 meters to the toll booth proper. You can't even change lanes. Because people are standing right in front of you and you have to slow down. Sometimes everybody is rationing and all that. If we're able to deal with some of these things, we make it a political campaign promise. we will clear the street, we'll make Accra beautiful, we'll do this. When it's election time, we are afraid to crack the whip because you know that people will not vote for you. And so
But
we
obviously-
allow people to do
Obviously,
whatever
we are
they
not
want
in
to
the
do.
election era where you would say that when you crack the whip now, people, it will go against you or anything like that.
But
I mean,
but
it's
Henry
a matter
Kote
of
is
being,
doing it. Did Henry Kote not come out to say that his own people are fighting him? Oko van der Poel did it. His own people fought him. Because when you do this, the people will not vote for us. And people are power drunk. They are all the time thinking about elections. So it is only in Ghana that throughout the 4 years, every day people are talking campaigning.
for me, I obviously think that there are those with the right sense of believing that things must be done right. Oko van der Poel that you cited as an example is still in parliament, right? So obviously, in as much as he did it in the past and he came out to voice out that people were
Yeah.
against him.
Yeah.
I mean, there were those people who still believed that he was doing the right thing
Yeah.
and they stood up for him. So
Yeah.
I still believe that what Engineer Mahama said was totally right, but the point where I had some bit of concern where he mentioned that there will be some form of discrimination when you are asking people to
Yeah.
use this road
Yeah.
and pay attention.
Yeah.
For me, I think that should not be the case. If, for instance, if you are applying for passports right now, there are options.
So you have premium service.
Yeah, I mean, you have premium service
premium
and you have
service is
the
part of
ordinary
the
service.
system.
So if you choose to stay in traffic on the 2-lane and endure the traffic, that is up to you.
But he also
the
raised
situation
serious
where you are,
concern of
the 10 cities
real
come in,
challenges.
but
You get it?
You see, my problem would have to do with the private person charging without recourse to parliament and for us agreeing that this is how much the road user or the motorist should pay, but should just decide on him or herself to say that, okay, we have constructed this road with
This is
so
how
much
much we're
amount and
going
this
to
is how
charge.
much we are. That's where I would have a bit of a challenge. But if the private person comes in and says that, oh, this is the periphery of the road, you can use it if you don't want to pay this amount of money, and this is the amount of money Parliament really agreed to. I think that should be the way.
But there's a
going.
concession agreement, which I'm sure would encapsulate all of these decisions. You know, so I'm not sure they're going to have a free run to say we will charge whatever we feel like charging. You know, without reference to Parliament, because Parliament is involved in the process.
But you know, I think that in all this, why are we allowing ourselves to be ruled by confusion, right? Why can't we say
There's
that?
a straight cut to the thing. Let's just go
It's
for
as
it.
simple
and
as
be
that.
fine.
What is this kind of the private person think that this is what
Because-
I think is good? This is what no, look, David. I think that in this country, our problem is ego from leaders.
Yeah.
Okay,
No, but that's
you
what it
put
is.
up some kind of
It's-
initiative. You realize that this is not working. The people are complaining. We find it so difficult, you know, to
To
either
step
have
back,
the power and say
yeah.
that, okay, this is what we wanted to do. If it's not working, can we review it?
Mm-hmm.
Can we do this? Leaders are not even prepared to review. We are not even saying cancel. We are not even saying
Yeah.
stop it. Can we now go back to the drawing table and rework things and say that, okay, this approach is not working. Can
Let's
we
go for
try
this,
this?
yeah.
You know, why is it that we are always kind of blinded by political points, you know? And so the moment you do that, the other opposition will come back and say that, yes, we said that you can't do it, and you failed, and you do this. So because of that, no, let's go with it. Why do we do this?
The situation where even when they backtrack on doing some of the things, they still have justification for it. So why don't you bring those justification in to just go straight forward, review the thing, whatever you think is the right thing to be done. Do it for the people to have some sort of relief.
Because
mean,
I-
there's total
I-
confusion in the system,
you know,
like you mentioned. I mean,
I agree with you that the traffic, the inconvenience was terrible. And so you wanted to find a certain way, you know, to bring some kind of respite to motorists. But obviously, what the approach that you suggested, the citizenry is telling you that,
Yeah.
okay, we don't mind
It-
paying.
yeah.
So this is not really the problem. Can we find... Are you
And I
telling me
even-
that there's
and
no traffic again at Weja Toll Booth?
And I
area?
on the
even-
motorway there is traffic. I
And-
mean,
and
So
I
what
even-
did we
go there
solve?
this morning.
What
you
did
see
we solve?
traffic, yeah.
Nothing. What
I
did
mean,
we
the
solve?
rush hour when people close
but-
from work or people are going to
No,
towards
but you
Accra.
see,
I mean,
no, but you see,
the traffic
I
is
mean,
so
engineer
bad.
was saying it's not the tolls, it's the engineering.
Exactly.
You see, so you engineer it differently. Suddenly there will be no traffic,
Yeah.
or you have massively reduced traffic. Anyway, Fred, we
And if
can
the
go.
roads are fixed,
Yeah. Well, yes, of course.
if the roads are fixed, you know, because if the roads are bad, is a security challenge. It wastes everybody's time.
Yeah.
It creates everything. So it is not really the payment of the money.
I still feel they should reintroduce the toll collection
Everywhere.
before
All the 38
even the reconstruction
tolls.
of the motorway.
Yeah.
Because
Anyway,
I think that's
Fred, thank you very much for
Thank you
joining us
for
this
having
morning.
me. Thank
All right,
you.
fantastic. We're going to take a quick break. Don't go anywhere, and we'll be right back.